Are you afraid your child might leave again after reconciling? That fear is real, but it does not have to control you. Today, I want to show you how to rebuild that relationship without walking on eggshells. After months or even years of estrangement, reconnecting with your adult child can feel like such a huge relief, but it also can stir up a lot of mixed emotions, right? So you might wonder, should I set new boundaries now that we're back in each other's lives? How do I handle this? The uncertainty is normal. Setting boundaries isn't about keeping them at arm's length. It's actually about protecting your emotional health and creating that loving, respectful relationship you're striving for. And that's what you want moving forward. So in this video today, I want to help you navigate this important step. So let's dive in. These points I'm discussing today are very common questions I get from my clients. The first is the question, is it okay to set boundaries after reconciling? So I want you to think about this. You're reconnecting with your adult child. One of you has reached out and it has gone well and you want to reconnect and things are going pretty good, but you're expecting things to go back to the way they were, while at the same time you feel emotionally not ready to fully return to those dynamics, right? Well, I don't want you to return to those dynamics. Remember, we always talk about wanting to reconcile and have more of an authentic relationship. Every single family that has estrangement, regardless of the reason, something was broken, whether it was the relationship between you and your child, or maybe it was you, or maybe it was your child, usually a combination of both. But it's not a cookie cutter. It's not, one size fits all. So I want you to remember that, because boundaries after this reconciling, it's essential. A lot has happened during your time apart, and rebuilding that trust takes time on both sides of the equation. A healthy boundary might be something you could even say to them, like, I am so happy that we're reconnecting, but I do need to take things one step at a time. Maybe you're the one being told that, and that's okay. This is the way, in my opinion, it should go. When we both jump back in with 2 feet immediately, there really isn't any closure to that, right? It takes time to rebuild. And so I want you to make sure that you're protecting yourself emotionally while still keeping that door open for connection. So what you could do is think about, what are the boundaries that you need to feel safe and respected in that relationship. Start with one small, clear boundary that feels manageable for both you and them. This is something that can be discussed with them, right? You can let them know that this is how you're feeling, but make it a small, clear boundary. It's something that's going to protect you both and you emotionally. Number 2 is, what if I set the boundaries and they react negatively? Well, that's very common. If you have set a boundary, let's say you're asking for some personal space or want to avoid some painful topics, and they seem upset or resistant. If that's the case, while it is super common fear because it happens a lot, you have to remind them that boundaries, or personal limits, if you want to call it that, they can feel uncomfortable, especially if they're new. Maybe this is new for your relationship and they're not accustomed to it. You're not accustomed to it. But you have to remind yourself that their reaction is just adjusting, just like your reaction might be adjusting to the new dynamics. If this relationship is worth fighting for, I want you to think about this, because this is super important. And I know it's hard. You could even say that. I know this is hard, but it's for my emotional well-being as well as our relationship. I want to approach things differently moving forward. Maybe I wasn't always the best at responding to you or the way I handled things. And I want you to know that I want a healthier relationship. I'm not pushing you away. I just want a healthier relationship. So I would assume that they are going to appreciate that. They may not see it in the moment, but they will appreciate it. If you think of when you share that information with them, maybe you can even practice a response ahead of time so you can stay calm and clear. So if your child's reacting negatively, you just focus on your love for them and that your goal here is a healthier relationship. So for those of you that are navigating reconciliation, whether you just got estranged, whether you're just navigating a difficult relationship, it doesn't matter what it looks like right now. But if you need guidance in regards to coaching, if you're looking for someone to walk alongside you day in, day out, or you're looking for a group situation, but you're ready to make the next step, then the discovery call that I have available is for you. It is a consultation. It's not a coaching call. but it is reserved for those moms that are ready to take the plunge. Like, I've tried other things, nothing's working for me. I really need help. I need guidance. If that is you, please click the discovery call link below. I would be grateful to speak with you on a consultation to see if we're a fit. So number 3 is, how do I reintroduce boundaries without pushing them away? Right? So like I said before, maybe you're concerned that setting them might make them angry or whatnot. You might feel like there is a control factor being played, or you're trying to distance them. And the key to communicate your boundaries is, like I said before, gently and clearly. So if they want to, let's just say, for example, this, and again, this goes for the kids as well as the moms here. If your child wants to visit unannounced, you may say, I love spending time with you, but can we plan ahead next time? Some of these are just super simple things, but we get so frustrated when they don't go as planned, or maybe you need more time. You're wanting to plan something with them, but you need a little bit of leeway. Maybe your schedule is super busy. The bottom line is it's showing respect for your needs while also reinforcing your desire to connect. So you're not pushing them away. And if they're seeing it that way, I would take a look at your delivery, how you're delivering that to them, but also some of that, they have to own that. The person on the receiving end of what you're sharing, it can be your delivery, but it also can be them, right? They're just not wanting to receive it that way. And if that's the case, there's not much you can do about that. I also want you to think about when you frame those boundaries and keep them in a super positive manner, focusing on what works for you rather than what doesn't. Make it positive. Instead of saying, like in that example I gave you about giving some notice, you could say, instead of saying you can't come over unannounced, what if you said, I'd love to schedule some time so I can give you my full attention? Maybe you're busy and you want to be able to have some uninterrupted time. That's a beautiful thing. Lastly, how do I set boundaries when I'm afraid of losing the relationship? This is the eggshells situation that so many of my moms that I work with are dealing with. If you are fearing that the boundaries, like saying no, for example, let's say you're saying no to financial help or constant availability. If you're afraid that it's going to cause them to leave again, that's where these boundaries come in. You have to remember, boundaries do not push people away. They create respect. And so if they're asking for that and you're not comfortable with financial help, I can't help you with that right now, but I'm here to support you in other ways. It might not always be what they're asking for, but by sharing it like that and not in a negative manner, just letting them know you're still there for them, but you're not going to compromise your own limits on that. When fear of losing the relationship creeps in, remind yourself that healthy personal limits are going to strengthen your connection in the long run. Clearly communicate it when needed. Give yourself some grace. Take some time in it. And the last point I have for you is, how do you balance the boundaries and compassion? So when your child is going through a tough time and you want to support them, at the same time, you also need to maintain your own well-being. And that can be tricky sometimes because we want to go all in on what they need. But I promise you, if you do that, you're going to lose yourself in the process. And I don't want to see you do that all over again. Sometimes when people reconcile, they forget that they still need to be focusing on themselves. They jump right back into the relationship they used to have that wasn't working. And so it's really crucial to know what was working, what isn't working. You don't have to choose between being compassionate and maintaining boundaries. So let's say, for example, your child wants to talk every day, but it feels overwhelming for you for whatever reason. You can also let them know that, you know what, I'm here for you, but I also need to take care of myself. Can we set up a time to talk, once or twice a week or whatever it is? You're still showing compassion while protecting your own personal limits, because you have to take care of yourself in this process, as I would encourage your child to do the same. So set that boundary that honors both of your needs as much as possible. Be clear about how you can support while not overextending yourself, because that's what I see a lot is moms will overextend themselves unknowingly, and then they crash and burn, right? Setting boundaries after reconciliation isn't about rejection or being harsh. It's about protecting you and fostering a more respectful, authentic relationship, which is what every single one of you wants, or you would not be watching this video right now. Remind yourself of how far you've come. And by setting boundaries at this point in your journey, you will be ensuring that the relationship you rebuild is healthier and more loving than it was before. I hope that helps you today. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.